Welcome to another episode of Financial Freedom with Tom Hegna, where I introduce to you some of the top financial professionals from around the country, and I'm talking Main Street, not Wall Street. Our next guests are a husband and wife team from the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Larry and Judy Poole are financial advisors. Welcome, Judy and Larry.
Thank you, Tom.
Good to be here, Tom.
So I know a little bit about you. We've known each other for quite a few years, but tell the audience, give us a background on how you got in the business.
I was actually wanting to be a plant manager, going to college, Wingate University, to studying in business management. When one of my neighbors told me one time, a business owner, he said, if you'd ever get in some form of sales or you're meeting people every day, that is your gift. You have that gift of meeting people, and I'd recommend you find some way of getting there. Well, there was a company out there that was doing some recruiting in the financial industry, and I joined them, became a regional vice president with them, and from there we're here.
Wow. And Judy, how did you get into the business?
I was looking for some work and I applied for a job and he hired me. It's a long time ago.
And then he married you.
Then he married me and I didn't always work. I went in and out over the years, but in the past probably 15, 20 years, I've worked full time. Children grew up and after the children.
So Larry, you get to work with your wife and you work with your daughter, Rachel. How is that going?
It's an absolute blessing, Tom, to be able to be working with family. It's a family unit. It's not just an employee that's there. They have the same care towards our clients that I do. We have the same concerns towards them. We have the same values that are intricately working with each of our clients. We feel comfortable doing that. We see our clients feeling comfortable with that. They love Judy and Rachel. I mean, they brag on them all the time to me. I've got one of my clients, he said, Coach, you do some 5-star recruiting. And I said, I really appreciate that.
So Judy, how do you like working with your husband?
I enjoy it. It's really, we enjoy it. We enjoy it. Years ago, when I was working in a 9-to-5 job, a long time ago, I always wished that I could have a job where I could be with my husband all day long. I see people out in town who were married together. I'd like to do that, and here we are. That's what we do.
So now I know you do a lot of work with women. Share with me some of the things you share with women when they're trying to figure out retirement. Maybe they're a new widow or they're just trying to figure out their finances. How do you help them?
Well, the first thing, especially when it happens later in life and they find themselves, all of a sudden, for whatever reason, needing to be in charge of finances, the first thing I always want to do is tell them not to be afraid. Because fear, in any situation in life, fear will cause you to make emotional decisions. So we always try to work with that first. Don't be afraid. And then help them learn. I always say, ask all the questions so you can understand why we say what we say, not just do what we say. I want them to be educated. And I've seen so many women who, after we've started and got some foundations built and got a plan in place, that they're just so much more at peace. And I've really watched them transform into a fearful person, into a very confident, empowered person. And I love doing that.
So now, Larry, you've just got some, and I want to make sure I get this exactly right. You've been recognized as the NTSA Elite Advisor, and you're inducted into Lincoln Investment Hall of Fame. That's pretty high cotton there. How does that feel for you, and how have your clients responded?
Well, it's a big honor to be blessed, but the greatest investment and the greatest honor is working with our clients, because without them, we couldn't be where we are. I mean, it takes a team to get somewhere, and it's that they find it very valuable. They find it impressive to them as well that their advisor has got some recognition behind them and not just somebody out there just playing the game, trying to make high commissions or whatever. We're in it for the long haul, helping them accomplish their goals and their desire. And that's what's the most rewarding to us.
Now, you said the word team, so I just want to follow up real quick because you have a team. It's Judy and Rachel. Do you have anybody else work? And
We do.
And what are the roles that each of you play?
Well, I'm pretty much the advisor. People look at me at that. But Judy is also, some of the clients really, really like her. And so I just sit back, keep my mouth shut, let her do the talking. And it works that way. Rachel, the people love her. She calls them. She's quick to respond. Judy's quick to respond. They love our constant relationship with them, our communications with them. And that's what makes it valuable.
You have anything to add, Judy?
There are a few clients. Yeah, we have some clients that want me to talk to them more. I just say that, but it is. We have noticed over the years when I started going out in the field. For a lot of years, I was not in the field. I was in the office doing admin. That was all I did. And then I started slowly getting out there. And we found, especially with with couples, that they really liked a team approach with us because, we've got a man and woman, and it's funny. Sometimes the different want to be aggressive, want to be conservative. There's almost always a mix, and we're a mix, and so it just helps us balance. And they'll find that common ground with one of us, maybe not the other one, but there's something that they can relate to.
Yeah, because sometimes personalities clash for no good reason. Like, I don't know why
It's,
I don't get along with certain people, but there's certain people that just don't get along with me or whatever. But then they'll get along perfectly with my wife, and so
it's just the
it makes perfect sense. So now you're sitting down with people, you're helping them retire. They're coming into retirement. They're a little nervous, they're concerned. There's inflation going on. The market's acting kind of wild. What are their concerns, and how do you allay some of their fears?
Well, you just mentioned one of them, inflation. I mean, who would have thought that a dozen eggs would get to be as much as $10? I mean, I never dreamed it in my lifetime. I mean, wow. But inflation's there, the cost of living, the cost of health care. Every time they go to the gas pump, there's been concern. But another one is the market. The market fluctuations of being up and down. And too many people don't recognize that that market is up today and can be down tomorrow. But we hope it's up for the full spectrum of time. So therefore, we want to do a total financial plan with them, showing them the avenues and making sure they've got some secured income, along with the growth potential keeping up with inflation. So we integrate all of it together, working as a team to make sure they understand that.
So now, what are some of the other risks? I mean, we've talked about inflation, we talked about the market, but there are other risks that are out there for retirees.
Longevity. I've had clients say, I'm afraid I'm going to outlive my money. It was a really funny story. The man said one day, he said, I'm afraid of outliving my money. The wife said, I'm afraid I'll die and someone else will get to enjoy it. I said, well, I can help you, but I cannot help you. So we can't always solve every one of the problems, but we're certainly out there to do that in every way we can. That longevity risk is powerful. There's a sequence of return that also falls right in there with that, and that is that a lot of people today, in fact, a Fortune 100 company said that they did a survey that 43% of the baby boomers believe they can make 10% withdrawal out of their 401k or their retirement account. Not so. Their money won't last long if they try that.
They'll go broke real quick.
They'll go broke real quick. So they've got to take all of that into consideration along with withdrawal rate risk. How much can I withdraw and still have my asset that will last me a long time? People used to retire and think it was 60, 65. Today, people are living to be 85 and 88. The money better last. So we make plans to secure them to where they can feel comfortable that they're always going to have a paycheck no matter what happens.
And I think tomorrow they may live to be 95 and 100 on a regular basis, because with all this nanotechnology and all this AI, they're going to be curing cancer, diabetes, lung disease, obesity, and people are going to live longer. So they got to plan for that. And you do have products that will guarantee they will never run out of income.
That is correct. Those income annuities, a lot of people think, what's an income annuity? It's a pension plan. It's a paycheck. Going to make sure that you're secured with some form of income coming to you at all times, no matter what goes on out here in the marketplace. The market can be down. You don't want to make withdrawals in a down market, especially in the early years of your retirement. But that income annuity gives them that stability, paying the bills each and every month, that money's going to be there.
Yeah, and all the research of the leading PhDs in the world support that. People think it's all about annuities or not annuities. That's not true. It's about a portion of the retirement portfolio into annuities. And that's what the research, Ernst & Young did an entire white paper finding the optimal portfolio. And they said it should be 30% income annuity, 30% cash value life insurance, believe it or not, and 40% investment. And BlackRock confirmed that. They said when you add guaranteed income to a portfolio, you lower the portfolio risk and you increase the portfolio returns. And that's BlackRock. They got $9 trillion in the stock market. They're not big annuity fans, but they got a lot of smart people. So I think you're exactly on the right track. So what about long-term care? I think that's a huge risk that people forget about as well.
we try to tell everybody, why don't we take 10% of your assets to protect the other 90? That's through long-term care. I know of 3 people right now today that I could name. I'm not going to, but are spending $10,000 a month on long-term care. And one of them, she's upset with the husband because he never would do it. She did it, but he wouldn't do it. He said it costs too much. Well, there are innovative ways today to do that. The old use it and lose it type, like an automobile and homeowners, you pay for it, but you never get a benefit out of it unless you have an accident or a tree falls on your house. Well, it's not that way with long-term care today. Someone can actually receive the benefit, and it's basically to protect the biggest part of those assets.
Yeah, and I think it's a woman's issue, Judy, because what happens is when they don't have a long-term care plan, what happens? The husband gets sick first. Who takes care of him? The wife. Where does the money go to take care of him? Now he dies. There's no money. Who's going to take care of her? And that's why I think long-term care is a huge women's issue, that because women live longer than men, and they've got to have a plan. And for single women especially, that's a huge risk that they need to take care of. So talk to me when you're sitting down with somebody. How do you determine how much should go into an annuity, or how much should go into investments, or how much should go into different places? Kind of walk through your process on that.
Go ahead, Judy.
The first thing we always talk about, if about starting brand new, is talk to them about what they're spending, what they're used to spending, what type of lifestyle they're used to, because everybody's different. Some people are frugal, some people like to live high, and we really try to look at what their real budget is, what they're spending, not maybe what they think they're spending, but what they're really spending, because what you spend now is probably going to be what you're going to want to spend when you retire. And a lot of times you don't want to think about that, but we try to first start with that. It's hard to get started sometimes because we work backwards. We find out what's needed, the essentials, and then work backwards to see how to divide everything. How much income do they need to get their basics covered? Then we kind of design the portfolio.
And then how much are they getting in Social Security? Do they have a
Yep.
pension?
Yes.
And then you'll see where the gap
deficit is.
is, and
Yep.
then you got to put
Yep.
some income in there, and then you can invest the rest.
The gap. Sometimes there's a large gap, sometimes there's not much.
And it's all based in math and science and the research of PhDs around.
When you mentioned that pension, at one time, there was nearly 50% of people in America had a pension plan. Today, it's down to 18%. That is tragic. It's become cost prohibitive to companies. They've seen that they could do the 401k and match the people, their contributions and everything, a whole lot less expensive than providing a permanent, guaranteed pension plan, payout forever. We see mostly state government employees that have them, but it's a missing part, and that's why the income annuities are so valuable to those people, providing that pension plan paycheck.
So, a lot of people have been always focused on accumulating assets, accumulating, and they're in the accumulation phase of retirement, and then they get to retirement and they think they can retire that same way, but it doesn't quite work that way, does it?
No, it does not. In fact, as you know, there are 3 phases to retirement. That's the accumulation phase, keeping it standard state. Don't want to lose my money anymore. Maintain
Protection, yeah.
That's right. And then there's that distribution phase. How are we going to take that money out? And a lot of people think that they could, like I said earlier, that the average baby boomer, 43% of them, think they could take out 10% of their portfolio. They cannot do that and sustain their money throughout life. They'll end up with no money at a crucial time in life when expenses haven't gotten less, they've become more expensive.
And you don't want to go work for McDonald's and say, do you want fries with that when you're 87 years old? And some people have to do that. So the research shows that the people are happier, they feel, and now even research shows that people are living longer if they have this guaranteed income. What are you seeing in your practice?
We see that. One thing that we see truly is that couples also live longer because they're happier, they have someone around them than they do when they're single. But the thing of it is, when we're doing this, we're seeing these people have peace of mind that there's something there. Peace of mind that they can take care of one another. Peace of mind that they can go places and not just sit at home. They may have seen everything they wanted to see. They don't want to go overseas or take long vacation, but managing their wealth, enjoying it, giving to providing for their children. One of the best things we find as a joy is getting a phone call and say, we're going to take a trip.
Yeah, that's what I love.
We're going to take our kids to Scotland or to England, and we're going to stay for 2 weeks, and we're going to need $15,000. Where do we get it? And we help them get that and take that vacation because we're all about them enjoying retirement.
And you know, I think so many people, everybody worries about running out of money, but the truth is most people are living less of retirement than what they could because they don't dare to spend. And you know, now I'm seeing it because I'm about 70% into retirement. I'm trying to be mostly retired. I play golf 4 days a week, pickleball 2 days a week. We travel the world. But retirement's all about spending money. And the problem is many people are not spenders, they're savers. I was a saver my whole life. And how do you take a saver and turn them into a spender? Well, what I found worked for me were getting those guaranteed paychecks and playchecks. Because when I get those paychecks and playchecks coming in, I'll spend those. I don't have to dip into savings. I already got these things coming in. And so for me as a saver, it's helped turn me into a spender in retirement. And I think you've probably seen some of that with your own clients.
We have, and it's one thing like you say, every day is Saturday when you retire. So people are playing golf. I've got some people in our golf community. They play every single day, every day. Well, that's okay. They're enjoying that. That's a benefit that they have earned, is to be able to enjoy retirement. And I think Judy feels the same way about ladies that we've got.
What are some of the other things in retirement? Because people want to still have flexibility. They don't want to be locked into everything. So how do you give them some of this protected income, but still give them some flexibility?
Well, that's where, we come in because we're wealth advisors. We want people to be in the market. You've got to keep up with inflation, but you don't put all your eggs in that marketplace because that sequence of return, again, I think it's worth drilling home. How if you start taking withdrawals in that down market and you got 1 or 2 bad years, take 2008, negative 38.54. You take out money then, but you take out to reverse it and take it out during the positive years, have the same rate of return. The one that started out in the negative, 16, somewhere in that range of 16 years, they're broke. They don't realize taking out the same rate, getting the same return. So we like being in the market, but we like that security, making sure things are done and taken care of. They don't have to worry about it.
And I think you're so right that the distribution phase is so different than the accumulation phase because people were dollar cost averaging into the market. But in retirement, dollar cost averaging turns into dollar cost ravaging because it works against you. And when you said the market was down 38%, if you took out 10% on top of that, now you're down 48%. And then you take out another 10% for the next year, that's down 58%. It doesn't take long for that money to run out. And so what sequence of returns essentially is you're either going to have good luck or bad luck. And I don't think that's a good outcome for your retirement. You want to take that sequence of returns risk out, and you can do that by at least covering your basic living expenses with some guaranteed lifetime income. So, Judy, how does setting up these plans for people, how does that help them with their motivation and with the way that they're feeling?
What I've seen is it helps them be more relaxed because, well, I'm a person that needs to have a picture drawn for me, and I find that most people do better if they can see something on paper. And so when I do the plans, one thing I always say is I run them to age 100. I never stop them before then because I say you have to live until 100. We got to make sure and once they see that their money lasts until they're 100 and there's still money left for their children or whoever, I noticed that some of those savers will turn into spenders over time. And those vacations that they kind of dreamed about, they'll wind up taking them. And I really love it. That's my favorite thing in the world. When somebody calls me and says they're going to take their kids on vacation or take themselves on vacation.
Yeah, we've been trying to give our kids some stuff too, and we're just like other people. We were sitting around sometime and we were saying, how much we leave the kids. My wife said, I don't know, what do you think? I said, well, if we bought a $1 million second-to-die life insurance policy, name the 4 kids a beneficiary, when we're both gone, they're going to get $1 million tax-free. Well, we did that. That $1 million policy costs $150,000. So for 15 cents on the dollar, we get to transfer $1 million tax-free to our kids. But guess what? Who gets to spend the other $850,000? We do. So what I tell people is if you want to let's say a family has 3 kids and they want to leave them each $100,000. Buy a $300,000 life insurance policy for pennies and then spend the rest of your money. That's kind of the formula you're talking about.
That's right. It's called discounted dollars. I mean, everyone, so many times I say, when you go shopping, you go into Belk's and Nordstrom, what's the first rack you hit to the lady? It's always the discount rack. It's always. So that's important as an integral working part of the financial plan is if they want to pass something on, that's the least expensive way, just like you said.
And that's what I think is so interesting when you have some financial advisors who claim to be fiduciaries, but they don't use annuities, life insurance, or long-term care insurance. They're not acting in their client's best interest if they're helping with retirement, and they're not taking those risks off the table. And it was baffling to me for a long time, but then I found out there are investment fiduciaries and retirement fiduciaries. Investment fiduciaries, okay, they worry about what the fees are and what the rates of return and what's a portfolio. Okay, but you don't want them to be a retirement coach. You need somebody who knows how to manage retirement risk and give you increasing income for the rest of your life. They need people who've been trained like what you've been trained.
I tell everybody I'm a money coach. I said, let me be your coach. And I love Nick Saban, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. And naturally, he's the coach. He knows when to take somebody in and put somebody out, where to put them, where not to put them. He uses their strengths in the proper play. So we do that too. We balance them with the annuities, the income stream. We balance them even with fixed annuities if we need to for their portion, if they're that safe. But we want some in the market to outperform inflation, keeping them up where they always have a nest egg.
Now, what's the most rewarding part of your job or your career?
Oh, wow. There's so many. But it's seeing the people reach the goals that they actually planned to. They stuck to it, and they actually made it there. And they feel great. Some people don't want to retire, though. They want to do a hybrid retirement. They want to work part-time maybe just to meet people, see people. It may be driving a truck 3 days a week or working at Walmart, seeing all their friends.
Or being like me and doing this. I do this part-time. I speak a little, but I play a lot of golf and some pickleball.
That's right. And where you said, you want a semi-retirement. Well, we handle our workforce too. So if we want to take a 3, 4, 5 long extended vacation, weekends or whatever, and we do plenty of traveling and enjoy ourselves as well because we have friends we like to go places with. And that's what we want our clients to do. We want them to enjoy retirement. Don't sit there and harbor over that money and just put it up in a dish somewhere and think I got to keep it there. Let's go and enjoy life.
And that's what I tell people 2 things. Number 1, you're not getting any younger. Number 2, you don't get to take any of it with you. And if people just think about that, I'm not getting any younger. I don't get to take any of it with me. And I got life insurance to go to the kids. Maybe we should go spend this money. Maybe we should go take that trip. Maybe we should go do some things that we've never done before.
Enjoy life.
Now, I didn't ask you, what is the most rewarding thing about this for you?
I think it's what I said before, watching folks turn from savers to spenders, or not to spend frivolously, but to be free enough that if they want to do something, they know that they can if they want to. I think that's a big thing, to know if you want to, you can. They may not always do it because sometimes everybody's doesn't have the same ideas of what they enjoy to do. Some people enjoy being at home after they've worked the whole career. They just want to be at home and work in the garden. They're not interested in traveling the world.
And another thing, if people don't want to spend the money, they can give it. You can give it to the church. You can give it to your university. You can give it to your children. You can give it to your grandchildren. You can pay for your grandchildren's college education. There's so many ways that you can use money for the good of other people, that if you don't want to go, like, we like to travel. We like to see the world. I worked really hard for 30 years and now we're going to play a little bit, but we give a good chunk of our money away because we want to help others. And so for people who say, well, I don't want to spend on myself, well, then you can give it to others. So I'll bet there's a bunch of couples out there who are thinking, man, I want this couple to manage my money. How can they get a hold of you?
We have our website. We'll put it up on the screen when we're finished here. You can reach us that way. And we have an office in Matthews. One thing we do that is a little unique, that kind of back from the old school days, is that we often go to people's homes and meet with them in their homes or their offices. We find that people like that. So we'll still do that. We'll travel if they want us to. So that's just something a little unique about us.
Very good. And you have the capability to do Zoom calls and just virtual across the whole country.
Yeah, no
And
matter
if
where
they're
you
in
are,
North
yeah.
Carolina, you might come over and
We might.
have some sweet tea with them.
Or it might be, if they're not, maybe they're not, they might be in California, but we'll still, you never know,
All right.
because we've done it, so we will.
Well, thank you for joining me today, and thank you to all of you for watching another episode of Financial Freedom with Tom Hegner.